Hi, folks. The Chicago Marathon 2025 video is finally live. I did not record a lot of video during I was running for a couple of reasons. One, I was not sure if I should actually take my camera with me. The rules said that you couldn't take a video recording device, any of the selfie sticks, etc., with you. So I decided not to take my DJI Osmo Nano with me, which is my primary device for recording these days, especially my running journey. And then, secondly, I was not sure how I should cover the whole story when it comes to a full marathon. How long will it take, and what my conditions would be? So, that video is live with whatever I have. I've shared my full experience. If you've not seen it, please go and check it out. This video, I want to particularly talk about all the learnings I've had from that marathon. That was my first marathon, first world major, first marathon ever. I've done 4 half marathons before. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about everything what went well for me, what did not go well. So, things which I've learned, which now I realize were a mistake to begin with, and probably if not, before I can fix it for the future runs. So stay watching if you want to learn from what I, as a slow runner, learned from my first marathon. And in this video, I'm not going to be talking about how the race felt, how the city felt, how amazing the supporters were, etc., etc. I think I've covered that in the experience video. There you can listen to all of that. In this video, I'm just going to talk about what worked and what did not work. So let's start with what worked. Number one thing, I have been using running hats since I started my running journey. But for the marathon, I decided to use the headband instead. I actually had a headband on my head and then had a cap on top of it, running hat on top of it. That actually worked very well. So I am a heavy sweater. And what happens is, even with the best of the hats, after running for say 30 minutes or so, the sweat actually starts dripping from my forehead, and it starts coming in my eyes, and it also clouds the running glasses which I wear. So this was a problem, and I thought I will experiment by using the headband, and that worked very well. So one of the learnings is going to be that every long run which I do, I must have my headband on me. If you are a heavy sweater, I think it is worth trying. Hats are great to protect you from sun and from the glare, especially if you're running towards the sun. But the headband works wonders in protecting your eyes from all the sweat dripping into your eyes and blinding you. Second thing which worked very well was all the training I had done. Um, I joke this about the marathons, that we run 26.2 miles during the event, but we put hundreds of miles in preparation for that. So that really paid off. I think my marathon training, the mobility training where my wife helped me, helped a lot. My body performed extremely well. In fact, by the time I finished the marathon, I had a lot more left in the tank. And I'll go into the reasons, the issues I faced in what did not go very well section. But I think the training worked very well. I had put in a lot of work. One thing which remains on my head is I should have run, a couple of very long runs, probably completing a full distance of a marathon also. I think this is how my mind works. So, if I finish 20 miles in my training and people say that that is good enough endurance to run a full marathon, I think for me it works very well if I have finished that distance once, and I know I've done that before. So I should have done that, but overall the training worked very well. And last thing which I would mention, which went very well from the marathon perspective, is not quitting. Uh, Preparing for the marathon, I've learned that it is actually a mental game as much as it is a physical game, or probably the mental game is much more important than the physical game. You can still carry on with the physical aspect, but if you mentally break down, you cannot sustain running a marathon. So for me, there were a couple of points which I would talk next. I almost quit, but then did not quit. I kept going on, and I think that's the mental strength part which came into play. I have a long way to go, but I think that went very well. I did not quit even at the points where I felt like I'm done. Um, so I'm very proud of the fact that I still ran and finished the whole marathon. The time I spent on the marathon was a lot more than what I had planned for, but I wasn't really watching time. I was wanting to make sure that I run it and complete it. That was my number one goal going into Chicago Marathon this year. All right. So let's talk about what did not go well or things which I have learned from this experience of running the Chicago Marathon. Number one thing, this is something I've created a couple of videos before the Chicago Marathon, was my choice of shoe. Um, I made a big mistake there. So a little bit of story. I know this is one of the darlings of the market right now, but I bought Asics Mega Blast on several recommendations. I had done few long runs in it. The problem I kept facing with the Mega Blasts were that every time I would run for say 3 4 miles or more than that, I would always feel like my feet shifts or moves from the front. And I tested by putting in, you know, tying laces strongly, doing the heel lock, etc. But on the front, it is narrow, and I always felt that my feet was not stable for some reason. So every time I would run more than 3 4 miles, my feet would hurt, and I would not feel stable. Now, don't get me wrong, it would always make me run faster. So even until the last minute of this marathon, I was still debating whether I should run in Mega Blasts versus Evo SL. I think the fork in the road was I tested with insole, and I felt the shoes were acting a lot better for me. And then I decided to go for Mega Blast as my choice of shoe for the marathon. That really did not go very well. The shoes gave me a lot of trouble during the run. I think about halfway in, my right foot started hurting as if it was on fire. So I had to slow down there and I had to start walking and mixing walking with running. Um, Even I had to stop and talk to a physical therapist on the way. I'm very thankful to that doctor who looked at my situation, gave me a biofreeze, a rub in the calves and the foot, helped stretch the foot a little, and then I was able to carry on. So I had to stop like that for 3 or 4 times where I was in excruciating pain in the foot, and I still attribute that to the shoe choice I made. Since then, I've returned my shoe. Again, shout out to this great shoe store I have in Naperville Running Company. But I don't think Mega Blast was meant for me. Too firm and gave me a lot of pain. So that was a bad decision on my part. I should have stuck with the Evo SL, in which I have done my longest run and I was most comfortable with, instead of siding with a shoe which everybody's is hailing and everybody's talking great things about, and says that it is one of the best long run shoes. The second thing which did not go well for me was my calculation of how much sodium I need and how much salts and electrolytes I need. During my training, also, I have been using some of the electrolytes to sort of preload some sodium levels. So typically, before a race and even on the day of Chicago Marathon, I had taken a 500 600 ml of water. It had about 800 mgs of sodium and potassium, and basically the mix which I've been using. And then I had calculated some of my gels based on how much do I need during the course. First of all, Chicago Marathon, the point at which the wave 3 started, I felt it got quite hot. There are a lot of patches where you are right open in the sun, there is no shade. So for me, it got very, very hot, from a comfort level perspective. Secondly, when it gets hot, obviously you end up sweating a lot more. So my calculation for how much sodium I need went out of the window. I think I had miscalculated it. Later on, I realized that even if you are a regularly not a heavy sweater like me, you still need about 700 to 900 mgs of sodium per hour. And if you're a very, very heavy sweater, you may need more than that. So basically, if you're running for 5 to 6 hours, you're looking at least 5 to 6,000 mgs of sodium. That's how much you're going to be expending, and that's something which we should think about uh, adding back to the body as you're running. So I fell severely short of that. I felt it at a couple of places, and in fact, when I stopped for the physiotherapist to get my foot checked, she also looked at me. She said, you also look dehydrated. You should add more electrolytes. You are sweating salt quite a bit, so you must focus on that also, making sure that you don't cramp up down the road. So that reminder helped. After that particular incident, I did not skip any of the electrolyte stations. I actually started drinking electrolytes more and more. That actually helped a lot, I felt, from an energy perspective also. So this was second thing which I felt I need to focus on. And preparing for my next run, I've specifically paid attention to how much sodium and potassium and magnesium we need. So basically, getting a good balance for somebody like me, I'm going to be aiming at least 850 to 900 mgs of sodium and potassium mix per hour. That's going to be my baseline, and then maybe for the last hour I may bring it down a little, but that's going to be the place I wear, which I feel most comfortable. Third thing, again, my mistake. I should have tested this properly before the actual marathon, and should have done a dress rehearsal of sorts. I brought in the Nathan Mega Max vest, which is basically something you tie around your waist, and it has a pretty good storage capacity. I had used it for one or two runs where I just had my phone and one water bottle, and I felt it was working very well. I had sized it to make sure that it is actually a little smaller than what is recommended for me, because I wanted to make sure it is snug. Um, Here is what happened during the race. I was going to be running with about 8 gels. I had bonk breakers with me, and I had my phone with me, and I don't know what else was there. There was probably one more thing with me in that vest. And after I loaded that vest right before my race, which was like 30 minutes before going out of the race day resort, I realized that even during walking, the belt was moving around. And actually, when I started running, this was the first interference I felt from my gear. It started slipping, so I had to continuously move and adjust down the road. And during the course of the marathon, as I consumed some of the gels, the weight sort of figured itself out. But that was a huge mistake also. This was something which bothered me throughout the run. Now that also I have returned after the marathon, I have to look for a better solution. We were not allowed, or at least I was being overly cautious, so I did not carry my regular running vest, which actually has enough capacity. uh, so that's going to be my choice moving forward. If I decide to go back to the running vest like from Nathan, which I think is one of the best quality products out there, it's just that maybe the sizing was off for me. I would go back and size or buy an even smaller size and test it out properly with all the gear, how much I would carry in it, before really taking it to a final race like that. All right. And the last one. This is a very tactical one. And by the way, I still haven't found a solution for it. So, anybody who's listening, if you know how to do this, let me know. I would greatly appreciate. So, on my Garmin watch, there is an option to set reminders for yourself. And those reminders you can set by mileage, you can set it by time. I set a 30-minute reminder in it, so that every 30 minutes I should consume my gel and keep my energy topped up. During the race, I realized those reminders never came. And adding to it, my hydration issue, my vest which is moving, and then ultimately the foot pain that started bothering me a lot. My complete nutrition plan, fueling plan sort of went out of the window. So I had absolutely no idea how long it has been since I had the last gel. Um, I basically just started consuming it based on gut feeling. In fact, towards the last part of the race, I was just stopping by, getting electrolytes everywhere, and I was also consuming bananas on the run, right? Whatever they were handing out. So my whole strategy of how much I fuel and when should I fuel, that kind of got messed up. I ended up the race. I had gone in with 8 gels. I realized I ended up consuming 5 gels only. So I had 3 leftovers. On the run, I had consumed one of the Mortein gels they were handing out. So I ended up consuming about 6 gels during the period of. So, by the way, I completed my Chicago Marathon in 6 hours, given all the issues I faced, and I had to stop several times for several minutes altogether. But that probably also contributed to loss of energy and sustenance, which you really require for such a long time where you're on the track. But that was a huge mess. I still haven't found a solution. I have been testing it for last few days, setting up reminders. I have even tried setting up a reminder for say 33 minutes so that it's not evening out and not sort of getting interfered by other prompts, which may be happening at 30 minutes exactly. But none of that has worked. I don't know if this is a Garmin bug or I'm doing something wrong. So if any of you know, let me know what might be the solution for that. All right, folks. So those were some of the things which worked very well and which did not work well for me. As they say, if something doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. When you participate in such huge events, you obviously come back and learn a lot more from those events, right? It doesn't matter if you want to participate in another event like that or not. Some people may not go back, run a marathon. They may decide half marathon is their cup of tea and they want to build endurance. For some like me who want to do more, they may go higher, but then ultimately you learn and become a better person, better athlete, if we can call ourselves so. um, but yeah, those were some of the learnings. These are the learnings for my future self. If you are in the same boat like me, who is somebody who's a beginner runner, I'm hoping that these will help you also prepare well for your marathon. But thanks for watching. All the very best.